Anyways, so we have been going on and on. We've also missed, this is the worst transition of all time, by the way.
Oh, God, I know where you're going.
The other day was Father's Day. And we have four
Today,
fathers.
technically.
Well, technically, I'm trying to do
You
in the
say
future.
four
I
fathers?
know.
We're
Four
the
fathers.
We're the four
score.
fathers.
We are the four fathers.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
one not
Um,
father.
And one not father who has father.
That you know.
Yes,
so
of.
there you
I do
go.
have father.
You do have digital. So we've talked a lot. I mean, like Donald, like, and I wrote something on Substack about this today, but like, there's a lot of talk about masculine. We talk a lot about masculinity, right? And I thought we've talked a lot about some really bad examples of masculinity. Donald Trump is the worst because he's the biggest baby on earth. Hegseth is another horrible example. Stephen Miller's name came up, who is literally the Lizard King. So to wrap up our session here, like I would love everybody to talk about one, let's say father figure in their life that did something to them that they feel is the definition of positive masculinity rather than this sort of pump your chest and punch people to show you're a bigger man version. So who wants to go first?
I vote Rich because he started this conversation.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, this wasn't my idea. I'm just pretending it was.
I was
ahead.
wondering how long it would take for somebody to get around to Walter White, and then we would just be arguing about Breaking Bad all over again. No, for one episode. No, we're not talking about our dads, right? Our own dads. Like everybody's got a dad that
You
they
can
love,
if you
right?
want.
Well,
You can.
ideally, like, well, okay. So my dad, it was funny because I wrote in a card for him and I said, like, sort of thank you, but not thank you because you set me up for failure because he showed me what real masculinity was like, and I was thus not prepared for the real world. Because you get out in this world and you meet guys and you understand what like masculine culture is in this country. And it took me it was like leaving religion. It took me like 10 years of like trying to reconcile things, like two things that were both not true or one thing that was true. And I thought they were both true. And now I understand, but it took me absolutely forever to understand that most guys are not like the guy who raised me. And that was a person who's just, it's not rocket science. Like all people are equal and women are awesome. Like my wife, my mom is his best friend and they do everything together still. They're still married. And so my dad's amazing, obviously, but I also want to give one shout out to a guy. I'll just call him Sean. From college, he was my journalism mentor, inspiration. He was the guy who just constantly, unrelentingly challenged me was like, you can do better than that. He constantly told me that. He's like, this is really good, but you can do better than that. You're smarter than that. And he was always, always, always pushing me, but it was from this position of like, you've got this thing in you. So keep coaxing that out, and it's sort of this like perpetual, like you're good now. So don't dog on yourself, but keep making yourself better at this craft because obviously it's a thing that you love to do. And that's literally what we are doing. It's what I'm doing on social right now is the very, very sliver of a thread of a craft skill that Sean identified a whole 20 whatever years ago now and said, like, basically chase that. And so huge shout out to him. He's still in my life. I still message him every once in a while. Very, very proud of what we're all doing here. So huge shout out to Sean.
Cool. Zach, you're next.
All right. I'm going to be very boring and do my own dad. Because I'm the father to a 4-year-old daughter and, it's my only kid and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate being a dad, like what's natural to me, but also what's right for her. And, you got to find that balance. So obviously you draw a ton from how you were raised if you liked your upbringing. And I'm very fortunate to be one of the people who's happy to say I got two amazing parents, two amazing step parents too, but two incredible parents. And, the thing my dad did that I try to emulate every single day is he gave me room to just be who I was and not force me into a position. He unless the boundaries are essentially like outside of this boundary is severe error. Like don't do heroin, like things where it's like, holy shit, don't go that far.
Good
but
advice.
Within the boundaries of like just regular existence, do you, man? Like that's a really, and even as my daughter's only 4, but even at 4, that's an incredible lesson to understand. Like, no matter what you do, I'm here. It's cool. Like, you're good. I got you no matter what. You're going to be your own person. I'm not going to force you into a box. This is an extremely important thing. And dads, I think, kind of set the tempo on that kind of thing a lot of the time. Oftentimes, dads are the ones who like let you know these are the boundaries of life. This, especially as a son, this is how it's going to be. So for me, having that growing up it made being a parent so easy for me. Like, being like, I'm really lucky in that, like, I have an amazing daughter, but I also like being a parent feels much easier because I had 2 incredible parents who like set the tempo for what it means to be a parent. So like, it's boring, but my dad did an amazing job as my dad. And like, I'm really hoping I could just like kind of scrape the surface of where he got with me, with my own daughter. And so far I think I'm doing okay, but we'll see how it goes. I got a lot of years to go.
Well, I think we could use a lot more boring in our lives. I'll joke about wanting to live in precedented times. So boring sounds lovely. So, all right, Luke, you're next.
All right. I'm also going with my dad, but not so much like he did. Basically, the best, I've been thinking about it a lot, what the best lesson he ever taught me is. And he always told me that has always told me that the best way to judge somebody is how they treat people older than them, like really old people, animals, and kids. Mm. And like, I feel like a lot of times people give that kind of bullshit, gibberish, like, oh, this is what you should do in life. But when I think about it, and I look back through all of my memories with my dad, I have never seen him mess something up with one of those things. Like, to paint a picture, my dad is like 6 foot, probably 250 pounds. His hands are the size of fucking catcher's mitts. And I have seen that guy, I grew up on a farm. I have seen that guy give CPR for 30 fucking minutes to a lamb that was probably half the size of one of his hands, until his hands were literally fucking blue, to bring that fucker back to life. I've seen him do it. And like, looking back on it, like if you see him walking through a farm and fleet, your immediate, or at least like when I see someone like him, my immediate assumption is like, And like, I have always been thankful to think that, okay, you don't have to think that way all the time.
That's incredible.
It really is.
Chris?
So I had a complicated relationship with my dad. And I am 3 weeks into being a dad. So this is my first Father's Day. And one of the things that it has taken me a really long time, I'm going to be 40 this year, to kind of accept, was that my dad was a guy who struggled and he didn't know how to deal with it. His relationship with his father shaped his entire life, everything about it. His dad was the version that I got of his memory, was that his dad was like a violent alcoholic who like beat the shit out of his only child, like all the time. And my dad, when he became a father, his commitment to himself and to me was that he would never put his hands on me. And in his mind, that would make him a better father than he was, than he had. But it didn't make him an emotionally whole father, right? So I got a version of masculinity growing up that was silent and stoic.
Sure.
And that, buried the pain. My father unfortunately inherited the addictive gene that his father had. He was a big alcoholic. He was a drug user. For my adult life, for my entire life, that addiction problem shaped a lot of who I am. Like growing up, with my dad having gone to rehab a couple times. And a big part of that, pain that I had with that relationship of not really being close to my dad trying to be a good dad, but just not knowing how, made it so I never wanted to be a dad. One of many reasons, like going to Iraq and seeing the worst of the world. And there are many reasons I never wanted to be a dad. And when I first got with my wife, when we got married, for the first few years, my wife didn't want a kid either. And her mind changed after the fall of Afghanistan. She was an editor for the New York Times, the editor of Afghanistan. So she worked on the Afghan evac, and that was a very traumatic experience. She had spent 2 years in Afghanistan as a journalist, so she has a personal connection. And my mind didn't change. We spent a few years navigating IVF, and now I'm a dad, and I love it. And it is, I think that the 3 weeks of experience that I have helped me forgive a lot of my dad's shortcomings and his version of masculinity, because no one modeled it for him. He didn't have another masculine figure come in and save him. He didn't have a mentor, take away the pain of his relationship with my grandfather. But with all that said, I wouldn't be who I am today without my father and his influence on my life. And I know that I have accomplished an incredible amount of good for the world. And it took me a long time to get here, but I'm now a dad, and I love it. And, something that I had been afraid of for, I don't know, the last 30 years, like since I was a kid, has been an absolutely wonderful experience so far.
It's amazing, man.
That's great.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to get through mine, because mine's is both good and a bit painful. So my dad passed away 3 years ago, relatively sudden. We had about a week's notice, 5 days notice. I think they originally told us 3 to 6 months, and he had 5 days. And it was particularly painful because, one, because it was such a shock. He was 70 years old, and we all were just kind of stunned. But I had also had gotten him studio time. He was a musician, and he had written a song in the 60s called Wait for Tomorrow that another band recorded. And apparently it was like number 16 on the main top 20, which I didn't even know was a thing that existed. And maybe it didn't. Maybe he just said that. I don't know. And he'd never been in a real studio. So my brother and I, for Father's Day, so 3 years ago today, got him that. And I am a terrible gift giver generally, and he loved it. And he was so excited about it that he began reworking the song because he didn't like how the original was. And then he got sick, and we had to postpone. And then it got to the point where we didn't get to do it. And in the last weeks, he said his biggest regrets were not seeing his grandchildren grow up, not eating his favorite meal, and not doing the song. So without telling my brother, who is the musician, by the way, I am not, I told him that my brother and I would do it as a tribute, and that hopefully he would be able to hear it. And that seemed to perk him up a little bit. He told us where the sheet music is, and unfortunately he didn't make it. But we did it a few months later after some time, and it really was cathartic for us. And my mom was just like blown away. First of all, she's never heard me sing. I sing on it, and my brother, it's kind of like a duet sort of. And really, so like, I think for me, it was the gift of music that he gave me, but also he was somebody that worked a job for 35 years and he absolutely hated it. And he always told me to go out, go explore. We didn't do that. We stayed in Bath. Go check things out. Go find your place. And that's exactly what I did. And I don't know if I would have done that if I hadn't had the push. And that was all him. I mean, and my mom too, of course. And then the other thing was, don't start a fight, but if someone starts a fight with you, you could finish it. Yep. So I did get a little bit of the, which I never had to do. So that was mine, but
you're still young,
anyways.
Tim. There's still time.
Well, I go see the ice coming knocking on my son's school or something. There might be a little bit of a problem, but, okay.
I think it's a powerful message, and it's something I didn't say about my dad, but that I immediately regretted not saying. He told me, you don't have to hate what you do. Because there's this thing, especially among men, that's like everyone hates their job,
Mm.
and you
Right.
you go do your work and you pay the bills, and it's a stoic thing, and it's like there's no work that isn't sacrifice, and that it isn't misery, and that there's some honor or whatever, and that doesn't have to be true. And for millions
No.
and millions of people, it
Mhm.
is not true. You can wake up every day, love the people you're with, and love what you do to give back to your community. And that's what you're doing. You're delivering value to human beings, whether that's through a for-profit organization, a not-profit, or, you know, a nonprofit
Mhm.
organization, whatever it is, you're creating value for humans. That's why it's like, I don't want to be an influencer, but like at the same time, if people are creating value for other people, if that's entertainment, if they're in Hollywood, if they're online, it doesn't matter. Show up, love what you do. That is manly as fuck.
I 100% agree. And not to get too like woo woo on everybody, but like, what do we got? 80 to 100 years on this earth, right?
Yep.
300 years from now, no one's going to remember any of us. It's sad to say, but it's true. Why not and live your life in the? I mean, not everyone can do this. There's
course
privilege in what I'm saying, but like,
Yeah.
you know, try the best to have a life that you like. And Rich, if that means making TikTok videos and screaming at your graph as they shoot up and then straight down, you know, because they're screwing you over, like that's okay. That's a real story, by the way.
Never experienced
We have
that.
seen it
Never
happen
experienced
several
that.
times.
There are some slacks that pretty
I'm
much
also
sound like
not
what this
clean on that
show-
one.
Oh, I was going to you next, but
Yeah, I was
anyways,
gonna say.
no, but like, look, like everybody should try to do what they enjoy in life, and who gives a shit what other people think, right? Like, and I don't like the term influencer either. It kind of makes
Fuck
me
it, that's
cringe,
what
but
I
like-
am. Fuck it.
All right,
I've
Luke's owning
accepted it.
Great. But anyways, like I think I don't think men talk about this stuff enough, right? And I think that it's like you said, the stoic and silent, and just like go about it and wait for your pension, which most people don't get anymore, so it don't really work. You know, is just not like. And a lot of those guys. I mean, my dad had a alcohol problem too. A lot of it stemmed from that. A lot of it stemmed from his father passing away too early. But you know, it's not a healthy thing.
Hey, Tim, I'm going to put you on the spot and we can edit this out if you don't like it. But what do you think of, in honor of your father and Father's Day, that we put your video at the end of this episode?
Ooh, I like that. What do
Sure.
you think?
All right.
All right.
I'll
So
take the
everybody,
views.
Tim's making
everybody
his,
should stick around
Yep.
Yeah.
because you're
Well,
going to get to hear.
It's
the
good.
trailer.
I've seen
It
it.
is
It's
good.
good.
Yeah.
So
It's good. It's good.
Let me just set the stage for that. And it's funny because my dad was a big Beatles fan, and that's where I got he had like all original 45s, like he had every song, and he played every day. I'd hear Beatles songs being played in the basement. When he passed away, I found videos of him practicing the song that he set up in his basement on his shitty iPhone 3 or 4, probably. I don't know what it was. And so in my head, I was thinking of the Beatles when the 3 surviving Beatles got back together to record the 2 songs that John Lennon had recorded on a tape. It ended up being 3 of them, but 2 at the time. And they had done something like that. So I was like, why don't we do the same thing where my brother and I are performing the song, but my dad was actually playing along. And then at the very end of the song, the last 5 seconds, we pulled audio off of one of his practice videos. So he is, in fact,
Oh, that's
playing
awesome.
with us.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
I hope you enjoy it. And with that, we're going to go, folks. Thank you, everybody. This was a really great episode. This is Tuesday, so we will be back on Thursday again. And in the meantime, don't forget to pick up some merch from us or sign up for a membership on findoutpodcast.substack.com. I see the guys laughing at me because I always do the shameless plugs.
hawking.
Even in
And
the
so-
face of your
and-
father's.
Hi, everybody.
He
Buy a
would
mug.
he
Buy a mug for
he
Tim's
would-
dad.
he would say go for it. He would say go for
I
it.
think you would. Sounds like you would.
Anything that he could get more people to listen to his song. I think that'd be good. So, anyways, everybody have a wonderful day. We'll see you in 2 days.
1, 2.